What's up, guys? Badger here. We're gonna break down UFC 310 Pantoja versus Asakura. This is gonna be I think this is the last PPV for this year. It's actually quite good. There's a lot of spots that I personally like, and we're gonna go over them in this breakdown. Also, guys, if you wanna join my Telegram group, I give them a free bet. I give a free bet there every week when there's a UFC card or PFL. It's free. We're up over 6.5 units. So if you want to join for that, link is in the description. Let's start with the first fight. We got Kennedy Nezechekuwu and Lucas Bresky. I'll just say that I'm just fading Bresky. Okay, he looked terrible against Mick Parkin, who knocked him out. Walter Walker, he's not a striker, and he managed to hang with him on the grappling side. He got knocked out by Acosta. He lost decision to Williams, lost to Budai. Kennedy I'll say, is far better than people he lost to, like Budai, like Carl Williams. So I expect him to do the same, and I was quite impressed by his performance against Chris Burnett. It seemed like he learned his lesson by his terrible performance against OSP, and he got the win. When he spoke with Joe Rogan at the end, he was like, it's all about consistency. So it seems like he's focused. His mind is set on the right thing. So I see him getting a knockout here against Bresky. I wouldn't be surprised if he does it in the first or the second round. So give me Kennedy to win. Next one, we got Clay Guida and Chase Hooper. I remember I was very split about who I'm gonna pick in the fight between Hooper and the Russian that he destroyed. What's his name? Varshislav Borshev, Santa Claus, Santa something. And I was impressed. I was surprised that Chase Hooper knocked him down, and Borshev is like a very high level kickboxer. Chase Hooper is looking good, and he's been on a tear, getting a win against Nick Fury, against submission on Jordan Levitt, and submitting Borshev. I think it's gonna be an easy win for him. With all the respect, Clay Guida is 43 years old. He's been losing in his last 5. He lost 3 times. He got a 1 split decision win. But Chase Hooper is contender material, like future contender. Clay Guida is not. I see Chase Hooper winning. I don't know if he's gonna finish Guida, because Guida is notoriously tough. The problem is Guida likes to take people down, and it's probably not gonna be a good idea to try to take Chase Hooper down just because of his jiu-jitsu accolades. So I'm gonna pick Chase Hooper to win. I think he can get a submission here. I don't think he's gonna knock out Guida, but I can see him getting a submission. Next one is Michael Chiesa and Max Griffin. I like Max Griffin here. I think he's the far better striker, and he has good enough of a takedown defense to keep the fight standing. I wasn't impressed by Chiesa. Obviously, in his last 5 fights, lost 3 times in a row. Vicente Luque, Sean Brady, Kevin Holland, and he won against the shadow of Tony Ferguson, with all the respect. I think Griffin is gonna be the far better striker. I think he's gonna be the one that put up the pace when it comes to their striking, and I think he's gonna get the win. You get him. I got him as an underdog, so the lines moved a lot, but I got Griffin as the underdog. I have a bet on him, so yeah, you get that from me, and I see him getting the win. Next one, we got Cody Durden and Joshua Venn. This is a fight. It's very hard for me to guess what's gonna happen here. Joshua Venn The problem with him, he's a slow starter. In every fight, he's a slow starter. He almost got finished by Chirez. He got finished by Johnson. In the rest of the other fights he had, he was very slow. It's not something you want to do with Durden. You don't want to give him that first round. And Durden is the much better wrestler. Like Joshua Van shown some wrestling, but it was against guys that are not really wrestlers. And Durden is a wrestler. I can actually see Durden getting the win here, especially with Joshua Van being a slow starter. Durden looked good. He submitted Schnell, and he was winning against Silva until he got knocked out. Can Van knock him out? 100% he can. But question is, will Durden give him that chance? I don't know. I'm not gonna bet on this fight, but I'm gonna go with Durden to get the win. I think he can just use his wrestling to keep the fights on the mat most of the time. Chris Weidman and Eric Anders, I'll just fade the old guy. I think Chris Weidman is just like the guy won against Silva just because he poked him so fucking much in his eyes. He got a win against Brett Tavares. I'll give it to him. This is a really good win. Sorry, he lost against Brett Tavares. He didn't win. Anders is I don't know. Like his last win is Jamie Pickett. It's very hard for me to give a concise prediction here. I'll just fade the older guy, which is Chris Weidman. I'm not gonna bet anything here. Not really two fighters that I look forward to watching, with all due respect. Randy Brown and Brian Battle. I like Battle, man. I cashed on Battle a lot, but they give me Randy Brown here as almost a 3-1 underdog, so I have to take it even with a small amount. I think that Randy Brown is the better striker. He has knockout ability, and Brian Battle leaves himself open. What I can see Brian Battle do in this fight is try to take Randy Brown down, and then getting the submission. That's actually something that can happen. We saw Brown almost getting submitted by Zaleski, and he managed to somehow escape that rear naked choke he had, and getting the decision. Brian Battle, man, I don't know. He has good submission games, especially from the back. This question is, will he be able to take Randy Brown down? That's gonna be the answer. I just think that when we look at the odds, maybe Brown is worth something to play with. I'm not gonna make too much of a big bet on Randy Brown, but he can also knock out Battle. Battle got knocked out in the past, so that might happen. But I'm picking Brown to win just because of the striking and the takedown defense. But let's see. Next one, we got a banger. No, I'm joking. Depends. Like I don't mind watching high level wrestlers fight. I'm gonna pick Evloev. I just think that the guy is on another level. He's very committed. He's gonna be the bigger guy there. Although Sterling was a big 135er. I don't know if that's gonna translate that good to a guy against Evloev. I think that Evloev is the better wrestler as well. I think that his pace, his explosivity is gonna be a problem for someone like Sterling. He's also a good striker. Like, don't forget how he hurt Arnold Allen. And you can talk shit about Evloev being a boring fighter and all that, but the guy has been delivering. He won against Diego Lopez, he won against Ige, he won against Allen, and he did it in a dominant fashion for most of the times. Against Lopez, Lopez had moments. I'm not gonna say that, but he utilized his wrestling and his toughness to survive and get the win, and I respect him for that. It's just he's a different kind of fighter. Sterling, He's a good wrestler. He has okay striking, like very weird style of striking, but I think that he's not gonna be able to take Evloev down. I don't see that happening. In the scrambles, I see Evloev getting the top position most of the times, and yeah, I think he's gonna get it done. He's also younger. I'm picking Evloev to win. Might be a close fight, but if Evloev win, he's probably gonna win by decision, like he always does. Yeah, so give me Evloev to win by decision. Next fight, we got Vicente Luque and Temba Gorimbo. I'm picking Luque to win. I don't know, like the fight he had against Buckley was weird. It felt like almost it was staged or something, because Vicente Luque got hit and he just fell down and that's it. Temba Gorimbo is not the striker that Buckley is, and I by the way, I had a bet on Buckley, a big bet, and he was the underdog in that fight. I think that Luque is being disrespected here. Temba Gorimbo is a good wrestler. He's not that good of a striker, not Buckley levels. Luque has nasty submission games. He got good Darces, good anaconda chokes, front headlocks. His is bread and butter. And I can see Temba being locked in a submission against Luque, especially if he shoots for a sloppy takedown. I see Luque getting the better of him, and he's been on a tear. He got some nice wins, but Luque is on a different level compared to all the guys that he fought against. So as long as his brain is alright, because he did have a brain injury, I can see him getting the win. But I don't know. Sometimes when fighters get hurt, injured, like Luque did, it changes them. He won against the Shadow of Dos Anjos, but he lost quite quickly against Buckley. Geoff Neal, knocked him out. He got a decision. He lost decisions against Bilal. I just think that Temba Gorimbo is not posing the same threat of striking that Geoff Neal and Buckley are posing. So yeah, give me Vicente Luque to win. I say by submission. I say he's getting that choke. Smith and Reyes. I'm picking Reyes just based on his last performance against Dustin Jacoby. Anthony Smith is not posing any. I think he's not gonna pose any striking risk here. It's just Dominic Reyes has good enough of a takedown defense to keep it standing. Anthony Smith is not going for takedowns, which is super weird. He didn't even try it against Khalil, which could have been a great opportunity for him to get maybe a submission. I'm picking Reyes. He looked great against Dustin Jacoby. He did lose a lot in the last 5 years. Ryan Spann, Jiri, John Jones. Many say he won that fight. John, he's a very heavy hitter. Jiri as well. Ryan Spann as well. Anthony Smith is not that kind of guy to knock you out. It's just not at least not Reyes. So give me Reyes to win. I think you can get the knockout here, but probably wins by decision. Nate Landwehr and Do Ho Choi. I'm picking Choi. I like what I've seen from him in his last fight against Aljo and also his fight against Kyle Nelson. He lost to Jourdain, lost to Cobb Swanson, Jeremy Stephens. Nate Landwehr, he's a dog, right? We saw how he can grind wins out. Win against Klein, win against Unama, Austin Lingo. He's good, man. Nate Landwehr is good. But Choi, he's dangerous, man. He got really good striking, nasty left hook. We saw you know, Nate getting knocked out in the past. He got knocked out by Herbert Burns and by Julian Erosa, which are two guys that you would not expect to get a knockout win, but they did. With Doo Ho Cho, you know, I'm thinking about it again. Looking at the guys that actually he won against, that's gonna be a tough one. But I'll stay with Choi. I'll say he's getting the win. Next one, we got Bryce Mitchell and Kron Gracie. I'm picking Kron Gracie. I'm going against the odd makers. I know that he looked terrible in his fight against Charles Jourdain, but Charles Jourdain just stayed safe the entire fight, and Kron Gracie couldn't take him down. Bryce Mitchell will try to take Kron Gracie down. That's the difference. So then Kron Gracie might play his jiu-jitsu game. And also Bryce Mitchell came out, like that overhand right that Josh Emmett delivered upon him was scary. Like seriously, was one of the scariest knockouts I've ever seen. He was like spazzing on the floor after that, and I don't know how is he mentally, physically. I don't think that Kron Gracie will pose that risk. But I don't know, just mentally, that kind of knockout that you get while the entire world is watching changes you. I'm picking Kron Gracie just because of the odds, betting's perspective. Cyril Gane and Alexander Volkov. I'm picking Volkov. I think that he's shown tremendous improvement in his last 5 fights. You see how he played super smart against Pavlovich, staying safe. Tuivasa got the submission. Romanov destroyed him. Rosenstruik destroyed him as well. He lost to Tom Aspinall, nothing to be ashamed of. Cyril Gane got a knockout against Spivak, lost to John Jones. Tuivasa knocked him out, lost to Ngannou. It's gonna be an interesting fight, you know. I'm not saying that it's gonna be an easy fight for either one, but I was more impressed by Volkov in his last 4 or 5 fights. But Cyril Gane really improved his takedown defense. I do see Volkov trying to take Cyril Gane down, and he might be able to do that. He also might just stay on the outside and really outpoint Cyril Gane. Maybe, I don't know. Cyril Gane is a very good kickboxer. But I'm gonna go with Volkov. I just think that he can get the win here. Co-main event: Gary and Shavkat. I'm picking Gary. I think that Shavkat has shown to be lacking on the striking department. Like Stephen Thompson was winning those exchanges until Shavkat took him down. I just think that if Gary is getting taken down at some point in the fight, I think he would be good enough in his grappling to survive against Shavkat, to stay defensively sound and just not get submitted. So striking, I think Gary is the far better striker. He's the far better striker, and Shavkat is not on his level on the striking department. I see Gary just outpointing him. I don't see Gary getting a knockout. Shavkat, though, I don't know. Can he get a submission? I don't think he will, because both of them have been training for a long time. Like, they have been training. They were training partners. Gary has been training with Charles Oliveira. Like, Charles Oliveira is going to be in his corner this fight. So they're probably expecting Shavkat to bring some of that game, the grappling, the jiu-jitsu, the wrestling. And I think Ian gonna be good enough to. I think he's gonna be able to stuff those takedowns. And even if he's getting taken down, maybe at the end of a round or something, I see him still being able to get back up or staying defensively sound and not letting Shafkat getting the submission. So I'm picking Gary to win. I say he does it by decision. It's gonna be my pick. The next fight we got Pantoja and Asakura. This is another fight where you have a grappler and a striker. I just think that Pantoja is gonna be able to take Asakura down at some point of their fight. He's gonna be able to take Asakura down, and when he does that, he's gonna get the submission. That's the way I see it. Pantoja is notoriously tough. Asakura is a very good striker. Like he's very, very creative with his striking. So can he get a knockout? Of course, that's a possibility. But I think that Pantoja is tough enough to avoid that and potentially getting a submission early on or later on. We know that Pantoja can go 5 rounds, and although he looks like he's gonna die, he just keeps going. Mentally he's very strong. He's very tough, very hard to win against him. He only lost by decisions. Thing is, 34 years old. He's not a young dude anymore, but fighting wise. But yeah, I'm picking Pantoja to win. I can't pick against him. Asakura, with all the respect, coming from Risen, I don't think that the level there is as good as. I know that the level there is not as good as the UFC. So I'm not saying that I don't think their champion can take Pantoja, but maybe a knee to the body. Pantoja has a tough face. We didn't see his body getting challenged that much. I'm picking Pantoja. With all that being said, giving Pantoja to win. I say he does that by submission.